The greatest victory is that which requires no battle. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Ladies and gentlemen, in a world driven by competition, whether in business, relationships, or politics, we are all warriors. Our battlegrounds are not always fields soaked in blood, but boardrooms, living rooms, classrooms, and comment sections. Our weapons are not spears and swords, but words, tone, timing, and silence. And while many fight recklessly to prove a point, there is one ancient strategist who mastered the art of winning without unnecessary confrontation: Sun Tzu. Today, I will show you how to win every argument, not by overpowering your opponent, but by outthinking them, not through pride, but through precision. This is the art of argument, the Sun Tzu way. Know yourself, know your opponent, know the terrain. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. The first step to winning any argument is self-awareness. Know your emotional triggers, know your weaknesses. If you are insecure, desperate to be right, or addicted to attention, you are easily defeated. Then, study your opponent. Is this person insecure? Are they seeking validation? Do they care more about winning than being truthful? Example: you're arguing with a colleague who constantly tries to appear smarter. Instead of challenging them directly, you let them feel they've won early in the discussion, stroking their ego. Once they're comfortable, you calmly introduce your better idea with irrefutable logic. Their pride will prevent them from backtracking, but everyone else will see where the true power lies. Lesson: you don't defeat people, you let them defeat themselves. Win before you fight. Preparation is power. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. Arguments are rarely won in the heat of the moment. They're won in the preparation stage. Do your research, know your facts, anticipate rebuttals, understand the emotional dynamics at play. Example: before a business pitch meeting, you know your rival will try to poke holes in your proposal. You prepare counters in advance, frame your ideas around shared goals, and even include points that they brought up in earlier meetings. Now, if they attack, they appear self-contradictory. Lesson: the battle is won in the shadows, long before it enters the light. Choose your battles wisely. Avoid pointless conflicts. To win 100 victories in 100 battles is not the acme of skill. To subdue the enemy without fighting is the acme of skill. Every disagreement is not worth your time or energy. Most arguments are ego traps. Sun Tzu would ask, "What do you gain from this battle?" If the answer is nothing meaningful, walk away. Example: you're being criticized online by a stranger. Instead of clapping back, you respond kindly, or not at all. The crowd sees you as composed, while the attacker looks unhinged. You gain credibility while they lose respect. Lesson: victory is not always loud. Sometimes, silence is the sharpest blade. Attack where they are weak. Strategic strikes. Appear at points which the enemy must hasten to defend. March swiftly to places where you are not expected. In an argument, don't attack a person's strongest stance. Instead, find the cracks in their logic, their inconsistencies, or emotional blind spots. Example: you're debating a policy with someone who quotes statistics. You realize they've never actually read the full report. Instead of challenging the numbers, you ask, "What was your main takeaway from the study?" Now they're on unstable ground. You've turned their strength into weakness. Lesson: the best warriors don't attack head-on. They find and exploit the exposed flank. Create an unpredictable strategy. Be fluid like water. Be formless, shapeless like water. You put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. Rigidity is defeat. If you approach every argument the same way, with aggression, sarcasm, or logic, you become predictable and easily countered. Sun Tzu teaches adaptability. Be firm when needed, soft when required. Shift your style depending on your opponent. Example: a friend wants to argue emotionally. You respond with empathy, not data. A coworker wants to debate logically. You come with receipts. A partner needs reassurance, not facts. You give comfort, not correction. Lesson: water doesn't fight rock by punching it. It flows around it and wears it down over time. Appear weak when you are strong. Deception is strategy. All warfare is based on deception. In arguments, don't show all your cards. Appear disinterested. Let others think they've outwitted you. Then, at the perfect moment, strike with precision. Example: you're in negotiations and the other side believes they've pushed you into a corner. You say little, nod quietly, take your time, then calmly present a new term backed by undeniable leverage they hadn't seen. Now they must agree or risk losing everything. Lesson: never reveal your full strength until it's too late for them to respond. Keep your mind still while others panic. If your opponent is of choleric temper, seek to irritate him. Pretend to be weak, that he may grow arrogant. Let your opponent get emotional. Stay composed. Let them throw insults, get flustered, raise their voice, because once they lose control, they lose credibility. Example: someone is arguing loudly at a family event. You calmly say, "I see you're really passionate about this. I think we might agree more than you realize." Now they look irrational. You look grounded. Lesson: the calm mind slices sharper than the angry one. Win without fighting. The goal is never to destroy, but to dominate with grace. The true master of argument doesn't leave their opponent humiliated. They leave them disarmed, often unaware they've been defeated. That's the way of Sun Tzu. To recap, know your opponent, win before the fight begins. Avoid worthless battles. Attack only where they are weak. Be fluid, not fixed. Divide their position. Use deception strategically. Stay emotionally detached. To fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. So, the next time someone drags you into a debate, ask yourself, is this a battle worth fighting, or a victory I can win before it starts? We live in a world of constant conflict, debates at work, disagreements at home, tension in relationships, and silent wars on social media. While most shy away from confrontation, those who master it rise to the top. I stand before you today not to teach you how to shout louder or belittle your opponent, but to show you how to win with silence, strategy, psychology, and power. The keys to victory are not always visible, but Robert Greene, the master of human nature and historical warfare, left us a roadmap. Let's break this down. Understand the battlefield, the 33 strategies of war. Before any argument begins, understand the terrain. This is Greene's strategic depth principle. Don't jump into battles blind. Know the person you're dealing with, their values, insecurities, and patterns. Example: let's say your boss criticizes your work in a meeting. Most people defend themselves emotionally, but Greene would say, observe first. If your boss always attacks when his own projects are failing, you now control the field. Calmly redirect. I understand your concerns, and I think you're right. Let's align this better with your current project's goals. Now your boss feels supported, not opposed. You've disarmed him and subtly repositioned yourself as a team player, not an enemy. Win through understanding, not reacting. Never argue the obvious. Law 9. Win through actions, never argument. One of the most powerful lessons from the 48 laws of power is this: arguments rarely change minds. People defend their ego, not the facts. Instead of verbal warfare, demonstrate your point. Example: you're in a relationship, and your partner insists you're not putting in effort. You could argue that you're busy, that you try, that they should understand. Or, you quietly plan a day for them, cook dinner, or fix something that's been bugging them. No words, just actions. Greene would say, "The truth is best revealed by the consequences of your presence." In Power, proof beats persuasion. Control emotions, control the outcome. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Emotions are tools. If you can't control yours, someone else will. If you can control theirs, you win the war. Greene calls this discovering the thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness. It could be vanity, insecurity, or a desire to feel respected. Example: in a group setting, someone attacks your credibility. Instead of firing back, say something like, "I respect your experience. I'd love to hear how you'd approach it differently." You've now placed the spotlight on them, feeding their ego while showing grace. If their answer is weak, the room notices. If it's strong, you still look humble and collaborative. You either expose their ego or gain an ally. You win both ways. Appear weaker than you are. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. In an argument, pride makes people overextend. Let them. Greene says, people will always underestimate you if you let them. The key is to disarm through humility or ignorance, then strike with precision. Example: in a business meeting, you pretend not to understand the full picture. Your opponent explains more than they should. Later, when it's time to pitch your idea, you unveil your deeper understanding with strategic insight. Now you look sharp, while they appear sloppy or egotistical. Never reveal your full power until it's time to use it. 5. Reframe the conversation. The art of seduction. Lead indirectly. Greene often speaks of seduction not as romance, but as influence. To win arguments, reframe them so the other person walks into your frame without realizing it. Example: someone accuses you of being too ambitious at work, perhaps hinting at jealousy. Instead of denying it, respond, "I just really believe in doing my best for the company. I admire your stability. It's something I'm working toward." Now you've reframed ambition as loyalty and their complacency as something you respect. You've flipped the power dynamic through subtle psychological maneuvering. This is seduction without sex, but full of sway. 6. Leave the argument before it begins. Law 22. Surrender tactic. Sometimes the most powerful move is to walk away or appear to lose. Greene calls this the surrender tactic. You temporarily give in to win long term. Example: a friend tries to drag you into a heated debate over politics or religion. You smile and say, "You might be right. It's something I'm still thinking about." You've surrendered, but in truth, you've maintained your peace, protected your reputation, and denied them the emotional victory they craved. You live to fight another day, on your terms. 7. Always keep the endgame in mind. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Arguments are battles, but life is war. Greene reminds us, the ending is everything. Don't fight to feel good in the moment. Fight to secure your long-term position. Example: you're dealing with a toxic co-worker. You could confront them, embarrass them, and win the skirmish. But what's your endgame? Promotion? A peaceful work life? Instead, you plant seeds, build alliances, document their behavior, and let time expose them. One day, you're the one promoted, and they're irrelevant. That's not just winning, that's checkmate. Final words: the real victory. Winning arguments isn't about volume, quick comebacks, or dominance. It's about strategy, timing, emotional control, and knowing human nature. Robert Greene teaches us that power lies not in brute force, but in subtlety and foresight. So the next time someone tries to pull you into a pointless debate, ask yourself, am I fighting to be right or fighting to win? Master yourself, understand others, and play the long game. That's how you win every argument, the Robert Greene way. In a world of loud opinions, emotional outbursts, and fragile egos, Nietzsche offers a darker but more profound truth. Every argument is a contest of wills, not who's right, but who's stronger. Let us dive into how to win every argument, not as a passive intellectual, but as a force of nature. 1. Understand the will to power, the root of all argument. Nietzsche believed that life is not guided by reason or morality, but by the will to power, an inner force driving every human being to assert, dominate, expand, and impose their vision on the world. In arguments, this plays out as the urge to influence, persuade, or overwhelm. Example: in business or online discourse, people don't just want to be correct. They want to be seen as correct. They seek dominance through validation. Recognize this urge in others, and you can control the arena. Allow them to think they are winning emotionally while you guide the narrative strategically. Lesson: don't fight for truth. Fight to express your higher will and control the frame. 2. Truth is a tool, not a goal. Nietzsche wrote, "There are no facts, only interpretations." The strongest person in any argument is not the one with the best data, but the one who shapes the meaning of that data. Example: imagine debating the effectiveness of digital marketing versus traditional methods. You could drop stats, but instead you say, "Old marketing waits for attention. I create it. I own attention. That's power." Now, the argument is not about numbers. It's about dominance of interpretation. Your competitor becomes reactive while you define the terms. Lesson: define the reality of the argument, and you define the outcome. Master yourself. First, internal will before external power. Nietzsche taught that the higher man masters his internal chaos before asserting external influence. You cannot win outward battles if you're internally fragmented. Emotional reactivity, insecurity, need for validation. Example: in a debate where someone insults you or attacks your ideas, most people lash back. But Nietzsche would say, do not descend. Rise. Respond not from ego, but from strength. Interesting. I see that my ideas make you uncomfortable. That's often the first step toward growth. You flip their attack into a display of your inner dominance. Lesson: power is calm, not loud. The truly powerful don't defend, they assert. Become the Übermensch. Transcend. Herd. Thinking Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, Overman or Superman, is someone who transcends the herd. He creates his own values, his own truth, his own world. In arguments, this means never letting groupthink box you in. Example: you're in a team meeting where everyone agrees on a safe idea. You step in and say, what if we stopped aiming to be liked and started aiming to be remembered? You challenge the safety of the crowd. You become the lightning bolt. Even if they resist now, they'll remember you when their strategy fails. Lesson: don't win by agreeing. Win by transcending. Expose the weakness of their will. Nietzsche taught that weakness disguises itself in moral posturing, emotionalism, and virtue. In arguments, when people use morality or victimhood as a shield, it's often a sign of a weaker will. Example: someone attacks your success by saying, not everyone has your opportunities. Instead of backing down, you say, I created opportunities through sacrifice. Anyone can, if they stop making excuses. You've now exposed their resentment as a cover for laziness or envy. Lesson: shine a light on weakness, not to destroy, but to assert higher values. Power is not given, it's taken. Nietzsche said, he who cannot obey himself will be commanded. In an argument, the person who waits to be given a chance to speak or seeks permission to think is already defeated. Don't wait. Take the frame, lead the energy, own the stage. Example: on social media, people beg for attention. Instead, you demand it by speaking with authority. While everyone's repeating yesterday's advice, here's what actually works today. That is will. That is power. You don't ask to be heard, you command attention. Lesson: don't negotiate power, radiate it. Create, don't compete. The highest form of Nietzschean power is not destroying others. It is creating your own realm so that others must follow. Example: you're in an industry debate. Instead of tearing down competitors, you say, "We're not here to argue, we're here to reshape the standard." Suddenly, you're not playing the same game. You've become a category of one. Lesson: the most powerful argument is the one no one else can even play in. Conclusion: argue like a force of nature. Winning an argument, in the Nietzschean sense, is not about likes, approval, or even being agreed with. It's about leaving an imprint of your will, reshaping the battlefield, and emerging with your vision intact. So remember, don't seek truth, define it. Don't react, command. Don't follow, transcend. Don't compete, create. Nietzsche didn't teach us how to win petty debates. He taught us how to become the storm that makes debate irrelevant. Become who you are. Remember, we are Indeceptor.